Hi, I'm Coral. This is Coral Gardens. I'm growing in the high desert of California. Really hot climate in the summer. Birds going overhead. Really hot climate in the summer. We're working on trying to get shade figured out for the entire garden in July. Got a lot of stuff growing and changing, and it's exciting time. Okay, garden tour early morning, June 30th. The light's not great yet, but it'll get overly sunny here in a minute, and we'll have big shadows, so let's see what we can get. In the little herb garden, the new starts of the Thai basil and the parsley are doing really good. I got one parsley flower, a bunch of green onions we've been harvesting, and some chives. Our little moringa tree is looking like he very much might not make it. He's been just barely hanging on. He stayed in a cup too long, so I did put 2 seeds in there to see if they might germinate and do better. So I'd really like to have a moringa tree. These onions are doing pretty good. They're in native soil that's really hard, so I think I'm definitely gonna have to move some soil away to get them to really bulb big. And I'm not expecting these to be our biggest onions. They are just our last ones. We have some zinnias getting ready to bloom. I think most of these big ones are Dollar Tree zinnias. I ran out of all my fancy zinnia seeds this year. We got some mint in here doing pretty well. I just planted carrots in this one. Let's see if they want to come up. We got some tomatillos left to go out. This one's starting to try and make flowers. He needs to get planted. And then these little ones that have been trapped in these cups too long are not as healthy, but we should still throw them in the ground too. They're tough plants. I planted some nasturtium in these extra seed cases. And then, what else did I plant? I planted corn in those that didn't come up, and then I just planted something else in there to take over, and now I don't remember what. Anyway, there's a sunflower that just came up. In our waffle gardens, almost all the squash and watermelon are vining. These really pretty tendrils. It's wrapping on the watermelon. And they're all getting flowers, mostly male flowers so far, but a few female. Let's water on this whole one first. A couple of the melons are small. That one must be like a cantaloupe. There's a big sprawling watermelon. There's a sunflower in there too. It's a third sister, like we talked about. And we planted beans in these ones. We haven't gotten all the way back because Cam ran out of beans, and we just ordered some more runner beans. So we should. And these corn are shorter. On the way down, we planted them kind of succession on accident just because we didn't have everything done. It's funny that there's random corn cobs in here too. Those are from our corn last year, the ones that didn't come out good of the glass gem, but we did get a lot of good glass gem. This one's always pretty successful. Look at these big, huge leaves on that guy. I want to say he's probably going to be a pumpkin, but I'm not sure. Such strong stalks down there. I don't see any female flowers yet. Oh, this watermelon's really going underneath them and coming out the other side. Guess I'll just let them do what they will. We have 8 of these, and these are all glass gem or painted mountain corn, and we had success with both of those last year. I want to get a lot more this year and try and make a bunch more wreaths to sell. This is the corner that I planted a squash and a watermelon. We'll see what happens with them. And this is a corner where when nothing was there, I planted 2 different, it's funny that these are both butternut from 2 different places, different seeds, and they have different markings on them. So they're probably just a little bit different butternut. It's weird that they can be adaptations within that. Producing the same fruit but looking different. Oh, this guy's trying to choke out the amaranth here. Come on, buddy. Oh, you're really attached to that amaranth. Let's pull off of him. let's go out here. This one looks like it might be a spaghetti squash. And those do really well here. I think this one is as well. There's a little one that I don't think got pollinated. This Three Sisters bed has a bunch of volunteer amaranth that we let go. And I can't remember if the corn starting to tassel is bad. I think that it is, especially for these where it's really starting to tassel. But maybe it'll, enough of them will still be going to seed or pollen. Ready to pollinate when they have actual ears. And maybe there is actual ears somewhere. Those really pretty squash flowers. I love these babies. These corn are clearly the yellowest, weakest ones. And these beds probably got a little bit less compost than some of the others. I'm gonna keep pulling these guys over if I can to try and not have them encroach on the other guys. There is trees trying to grow in here, and amaranth, and lots of purslane. I hate the trees the most though. There's another big flower. It sucks to water in the morning because we should do it as early as we can because then the bees start waking up. And I feel bad if we get water in their flowers. Little volunteer arugula just hanging out. They love those blossoms. There's been honeybees everywhere lately. We're working on granular fertilizer, trying to get to all these beds. Gotta dig it in a little bit and make sure it kind of gets where you want it to. And our last beds, these were planted last. So they're a little bit wimpier and further behind. These are not on even footing some of the time, so it's a little sketchy. These have more amaranth and sunflowers in the other beds because we were running low on seeds and the few that we had probably weren't enough. So I threw in some sunflowers and then the amaranth started growing. Some of these little guys are stunted. This big guy is just going kind of crazy in an upward growth pattern. I'm not sure about why, but hopefully he'll make some fruit of whatever kind of fruit he has. Speaking of fruit, our fruit trees, this is our plum tree in a bag and our peach tree, but I think is defoliating a little, which is a little scary. Hopefully he's doing okay. Trees are intimidating. And then we have some recently planted sweet potatoes, 2 different varieties of orange, even though the leaves on this one look dark and might lead you to believe they were darker colors. The lady said they were both orange. Hopefully those take off. They're getting a little sunburnt, and then as is this tomato. It's got a little damage to these leaves. Will take off. Planted him really deep, so hopefully he's doing okay. His new growth looks great. And this one I planted bush beans and edamame in the middle. So we'll see if those come up. Beans don't love the heat, but I'd love to have a few of them. The poor little sad hollyhocks are on their way out. But there's still a few flowers, so I'm letting them stay for the pollinators. This guy I cut all the way back to the ground. He was pretty dead. There's sunflowers here that I planted, and I'm gonna take volunteer amaranth from elsewhere in the garden and put it all along this fence too, because it looks really pretty. And hopefully it survives. This ground's still a little hydrophobic, so my son cut this off, but he left it in the walkway. Finally, a kind of clear path to get in here. These 2 big green summer squash are ones that we planted the first round, and the only 2 that came up, actually I think that 3rd one way back there under the tree came up too. It's just really small because it's not getting sun yet. Cam's big job is to get all these trees trimmed back today. And then these 2 are yellow crookneck squash, this one and this one here. that we got from my son's, from our garden group, which is part of my son's native tribe. Then we re-sowed all of the areas, and now just about every one of them has a sprout, except for that one, I think. So hopefully we'll catch up here. We're behind on zucchini, which is really depressing because we definitely won't have fruit for the farmer's market that also my son's tribe does until these tomatoes and these zucchini start doing better. These are cherry tomatoes. I grew these from seed. And then there's a sad little but kind of trying to make a comeback chileno pepper. Oops, sorry, little Spidey. Oh, there's the tiniest grasshopper. Can you see him? They have not been like a plague like last year. I don't know if you can see him. Let's see, there he is. They have not been terrible like the first year we were here, so I haven't been trying to deter them. If they take a few bites of my food, I'm okay with it. These are the biggest ones I've grown from seed. And they're all starting to flower. They need to be Florida weaved. They're getting really sizable, and whenever I water, they dip their heads down because they get too heavy. There's a lot of volunteers in this bed that I might just let go and see what happens. There's volunteer tomatoes here. There's one somewhere else that I can't remember. Oh, right there, a little tiny guy. And then there's volunteer, oh, that's lamb's quarter, I think. That's a weed. There's volunteer hollyhocks right here. I don't know if I can let them go. And then this fall, I sowed radishes and carrots in here, and the carrots just started coming up after all this watering. There's another little volunteer tomato. We've had cherry tomatoes here every year, so definitely some fell and seeded, and I don't know, I feel like I might just let everything go. We have some onions we planted in here. Most of them clearly didn't get enough water in this area, so they're not doing spectacular. But we have some chilenos over here that are doing pretty great. I was determined to get peppers, so I planted them in all different environments to see which ones would work best. We had a radish growing here, a big huge one, that I was gonna either eat the pods or save the seeds, and something ate them before I could get there. I don't know what, but I'm not that sad about it. I was kind of partially leaving it for the pollinators too. Some of these onions might do okay bulbing. And then I forgot to mention the beet over here. So in this one I sowed beets and lettuce over the fall. And these, I think 2. Maybe it's just gone into one now. Maybe only one was successful, but it looks like it's big. And then there's a little tiny lettuce seedling, so we'll see if more lettuce comes up now that we're watering a lot more for the tomatoes. Now we'll walk back up here. Go outside again, and then we'll go down the middle. So these are the slicer tomatoes primarily. Some I started from seed, some I got from a friend at Wispy Willows, some I got from a lady at something Harvest on Facebook Marketplace, and she gave us a bunch of free extra things that she was having a hard time, she hadn't sold and wanted to get in the ground. So these biggest 2 right here are from the store. It's a Kellogg's breakfast right here and a Celebrity right there. I think Celebrity's indeterminate. I hope it's indeterminate. Some of these biggest ones here are ones I grew from seed that are doing really good. Then we have a little multi-headed sunflower here, which I should deadhead that little dead guy. But that was a volunteer that just came up, so we decided to forego the tomato in this little waffle bed, and we planted one other sunflower. Some of the more sickly ones or littler ones we planted later or got kind of sickly, and they're starting to perk up here. That little guy I wasn't sure was gonna make it. But we have almost all slicers here. Anything that's not a slicer, we tried to keep to the edge because we're gonna Florida weave these as well. And it's going to be a little difficult to harvest them, I'm pretty sure. And now, well, we have peppers over there, but I gotta walk around to show you because, or you know what? I'll dunk under the shade. Let's do that. It's a little less time consuming. These 2 are jalapeno and shishito. That's shishito over there and jalapeno here. They're both doing pretty good, especially since we have them shaded now most of the time. And then we have Chileno peppers here. This one's really trying to flower, and so's that one. So we should have lots of fruit here hopefully soon. That one got a little damage, I think, from the sun, as did this poor little guy, who is my jalapeno. Oh, so maybe that's, where are you? That's one I actually grew from seed. That's the first one I planted out. Oh, look, there's a volunteer brassica in here, I think. That's weird. I planted brassicas in here a million years ago. These stupid little trees. And I'm actually, I want to pull the amaranth, but then I don't. Then there's eggplant in here. And some more little peppers. And I have a few more left to plant out that we'll try and put down towards the end where these cups have collected themselves. But they're doing pretty good. Peppers I struggle with. This garden is super full sun and very sandy soil. And there's this little bee starting on the arugula. Oh, buddy. I talk to bees, so I talk to all the bugs like they're my best friends. A little bit crazy. But yeah, peppers haven't done so well, but we're giving them like a ton of shade. And I'm hoping that it's not too much shade, so they'll still be able to fruit. But we are going to try and get a lower grade shade cloth, maybe 30 or 40% in the future, so that we can take down these kind of human level ones. I do, like if I stand underneath one of these, I still have a shadow. So I'm sure that it's not opaque and they're getting some sunlight, but we don't have a really good way to shade them partially and not the whole way. So right now they're doing good. We'll see if they don't start flowering, making fruit, we might rethink the shade. But in the worst, when it gets to the 90s and 100s here, it's like if you don't, you're in big trouble. These are our largest tomatillos. Starting to go to flower. You need to have at least 2 tomatillos to pollinate each other. They're one of those plants that doesn't do it on their own. There's a little volunteer amaranth on this dirt hill where we were going to have a second set of sweet corn, but it's the one thing that was really going to be hard to dig out, and I think we've kind of given up hope for it, but hopefully we get some corn from these guys. There's a few less of these than I would like to. I did these kind of as a modified three-sister and planted cucumbers in all the corners. I don't do well with cucumbers. I thought maybe they'll live, maybe they'll die. But then I had a friend give me kind of a struggling cucumber. It looks like he's doing okay. And then again from my son's native tribe. And in the meantime, one of the ones we planted finally came up. So we'll see. This one has a bunch of purslane in it. I probably need to weed a lot of this. I've been leaving it for kind of ground cover, but it's getting a little out of control. 4th of July is coming. These are very close to knee high. I'm hoping that we get a good harvest from them. But I definitely planted more of the flint corn because it's better for the three sisters, for the beans climbing up. Next year I want to try and do some more sweet corn though, especially if this goes well. Also with the flint corn, I don't care I like getting little ears. With these, if these come out little ears, I'll be a little bit more disappointed. And our onion bed, we have, I don't know if something has been eating our onions or those just the holes they're in. Can you see the bees bouncing around on those little twigs? I'll go over and show you more. There's a volunteer amaranth there. I love how so many of them are variegated. And then so much purslane. And then a few onions that look really good. Not all of them. They're getting choked up by purslane too. This is a Dixondale Farms method, is to make that aquifer next to it. But then in the aquifer, all these volunteers came up. And this is all the volunteer arugula. But these haven't even really opened yet, and the bees are already digging in them for the morning, which again makes it hard to water, but we'll figure it out. I just don't like to spray them. I feel terrible. And we'll start over on the trellises now. So these are beans. I'm pretty sure this is a long bean. Do have some ant activity, which means they're farming aphids. Aphids love these. Typically they go for the growing tips, the tender ends. So I just spray those off, especially when they are well attached. And that tends to set them back quite a bit. And then you just wait for the good bugs to come and take care of them, like the ladybugs. This one's starting to try and flower, but hasn't hooked onto anything. Oh, got a little grass right here. Pull that guy out. So these are a mix of runner beans, long beans. These are long beans right here. And just like Cherokee Trail of Tears, which I'm pretty sure that is. It's a dark bean. And then we got some red Malabar spinach. Really growing slow, I guess maybe because it's in the shade and it likes the sun more, or I don't know if it just takes a while to take off. I planted that as a backup because some of these beans do not do well in the heat, as you could see with this guy who's heat damaged right here. Crunch up the leaves. I'm gonna keep them going as long as I can. The long beans tend to do better than the regular green beans, but I didn't have enough seeds of those, so I just planted everything. They don't work out, we'll throw another round of squash in or some more Malabar spinach. This one only has a couple little guys. My little rocks get jostled over here sometimes. This is a compost bag that somehow got in there. So some of those are growing up kind of tall, but they still have a long way to go. And the heat's already bothering them, so we'll see. This one is melons and one cucumber a friend gave me. And then there's an Armenian yard-long cucumber in here too, which I won't know it from a melon until it starts producing. They love those arugula flowers. They're just everywhere. But the melons are pretty invaded on both sides by the purslane. So I'm gonna pull that too today. These are also melons over here. So there's a cantaloupe, Sharontice, Kajari. I think there's 2 Kajaris. And then clearly there's some watermelons. And I think these are Sugar Baby because those are the main ones that would be able to grow up the trellis. Although I don't remember planting 3 Sugar Baby watermelons in a row. But what can you do, I guess? My son might have planted those. I don't think he would have done that either. Anyway, I wonder if there's any bees visiting these guys yet. One goes right onto the arugula flower. Go down into that little squash, buddy. Not so much. Squash over here. We planted these succession to, not purposely, because my son had to dig these holes out, and he's working 2 jobs. Can't do the physical stuff, and it's hard to wait on him sometimes. But those guys are doing pretty good. Lots of volunteer arugula everywhere. Only 3 came up on this side. I'm gonna let that happen and let them just really go to town on this. Most of the time you're gonna plant 2, maybe 3 squash or... Oh, wait, where'd it go? Oh, there he is. Just trying to pry that flower open, which is really funny. But you don't need typically 4, but here I just don't know what's gonna do well. At least one of these squash will probably kind of succumb to the heat, so I like to have 4 so that I can try and fill the trellis, and hopefully I'll be able to. Little bee's just a mover and a shaker. This one we just planted with our last round of squash. We could put a loofah and a couple different squash and maybe a gourd in here. This is a Chinese melon next to that amaranth that I'm gonna have to pull. That the woman who runs the garden club gave us. She said it was a childhood favorite, a Chinese melon. I don't think she knew the name of it, or maybe she does know the name of it in Chinese and, you know, doesn't know the translation. But she was kind of telling us how we could use it, and I thought, this area we didn't dig out and put in compost, so it's going to be a little harder to grow things. And I thought, I've seen a lot of information about those melons really being heat loving and voracious and not the best soil. So I did that, and then I did a loofah here because those also are supposed to be really voracious. This guy is a volunteer, or he was planted there probably the last year, so that seed just waited. He's doing pretty good. I saw some, oh yeah, he's either gonna be a butternut or like a, I think he's a butternut, but he could be a Tromboncino. If he gets longer, we'll see. So yeah, that's basically the garden at the end of June here. Stuff's finally catching up. I'm a little bit bummed to not have fruit producing yet, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Next year I'm gonna really get on it early. We had some setbacks with starting the tomatoes on our own. My son was a little bit worried about the cats attacking the AeroGarden inside and where we were gonna put it in our little tiny trailer, but we found a cupboard and they actually did really well with it. So this next year he'll be a little less hesitant. Our first round died because we were leaving them outside during the day as they were getting bigger, and then they got left out and got froze one night. But yeah, so we just started over, and that's all you can do. So we're a couple weeks behind where we wanted to be, but we'll get there. Hopefully we'll have a ton of things producing soon, and we'll be able to help feed my favorite tribe. Is my son's tribe, where I just pretty much grew up, and who have always been the people that showed up for me when I needed them. So I'm trying to show up for them. I'd love to like try and help out with their garden. They don't have anybody running it right now. If I was more well, I would happily do so. Although I do miss nursing, so if I was more well, I might go back to ER nursing first, but I would at least volunteer to help as much as I could with the garden. Right now I could volunteer, but then I'd be using my son for labor, and again, he's got the 2 jobs, so that's pretty hard. But anyway, hope your garden's doing great. Look forward to seeing you every week and see how this is growing. I know weekly seems a tiny bit excessive. Some people do monthly garden tours. I just feel like there's a lot to show and so much changes, and I just love walking around and having a reason to talk about my garden. So hopefully you like it too. Come hang out with me, especially if you grow in a high desert or desert sandy soil environment. There's so much to learn, and I'm learning a lot about it. One of the major things was that you can water all you want with sandy soil. It's just gonna go straight through the soil and not be available down low like it would with the more clay soil. What we have here is sandy loam. So it's a pretty good mix, but definitely you need to water more frequently and less heavy. We water pretty heavy, but trying to really hydrate the soil in these places. But that's why we've done these Zuni waffle gardens. So this is our 3rd year growing here. We've really changed everything we've done. We've really adapted to the environment and just are learning as we go and changing our tactics to try and make it work best. So hopefully we can help other people in these environments, going from a Monterey climate where we were and definitely struggled with some of the things that do great here, but couldn't grow a lot of the, but could grow and beautifully a lot of things that I have not been successful here with. So it's a whole new world of gardening. There's always something new to learn, and I hope you'll kind of learn along with me. I really enjoy it. So take care, guys. Happy soon to be 4th of July.
Like and subscribe.
I kind of want to spray some off, but now I feel like they're leaving me alone, and I might as well try and just get through this. These are all of our slicer tomatoes. These 2 came from Garden Centers. Ooh, I missed that guy. He got me. Okay, going to get off. I just realized I said I'm going to get off, which might have sounded a little bit cheeky. I meant the spray, the mosquito spray. Oh my God. I don't even know what was or wasn't recording, and the light's really not good. I'm gonna go inside.